Yeah, recording now.
Michael Holt joined us. Hi, Michael.
Hi, apologies for being late there. I was looking for the link.
No problem. Welcome. Thanks for coming. So we're broadcasting, so just listen up and careful what you say because it's out there. Welcome, everybody. Jeff Dennis here. I'm the chair of TiEQuest 2020. I'm also the entrepreneur in residence at Fasken. So welcome. Today is day 5 of 5 evenings of the preliminary round of TiEQuest 2020. We started the last week with 23 companies. We've advanced 4 of those to the finals, and we're now down to 5 more who will pitch tonight, one of whom will be the 5th finalist. So it's been a terrific 4 evenings already. I wanted to acknowledge our sponsors. The Royal Bank is our presenting sponsor. They've been an incredible supporter of TiEQuest over the years and have been particularly helpful during COVID in helping us find our way to move this thing online. We're also grateful to our other sponsors, BDO, my law firm Fasken, the City of Toronto, Air Canada, Baylis Medical, the Biz Planner, and First Angel Capital. For those of you who are unfamiliar with TI, it's a global network of entrepreneurs and others who help other entrepreneurs. It's a huge organization with 61 chapters in 18 countries, literally thousands of, tens of thousands of charter members around the world, and we've helped tens of thousands of startups. In Toronto, our mission is to foster entrepreneurship, to encourage and nurture the next generation of entrepreneurs. We focus our attention on education, mentoring, networking, funding, giving back. TiEQuest is our annual flagship competition. It's a multi-stage business venture competition for early stage companies. Last year's winner was Genesis. After TiEQuest and the success that they achieved with us, they raised $4.5 million. They solidified an important international partnership and have commissioned a demonstration plant for construction to prove out their product. We've also had many other great companies come through TiEQuest. Here's a slide showing the logos of some of our past winners. And tonight and next Monday, we're going to crown another company to join this list. So this year, TiEQuest, as you know, was interrupted by the COVID crisis. But just to recap, we launched in December, received about 100 applications by the end of January. We did an online judging session where we reduced our 100 applicants to 50. There was a mentoring workshop in February, and then we got the elevator pitch competition in just before the COVID crisis hit. And we took the 50 down to 25 on that Saturday morning at Fasken's office. So here we are. We started, as I said, with 25 companies. 20 have pitched, 4 have advanced, and we've got 5 more tonight, one of whom will advance. And again, on June 29th at 7 p.m., 1 week from tonight, we're going to host the finals where the top 5 will pitch. Our winners to date have been Tenant Cube, Steadyware, LSK Tech, and announcing for the first time the winner from last Thursday is Nerve Technology. So tonight we're going to see Stan AI, Beam City, Honeybee, Veemly, and Able Innovations. I'm joined by some great judges, Michael Ho, Faisal Javer, a serial entrepreneur and angel, Akash Menra from Soti, Mahendra Naik, TiE's Toronto's president, many years as president, and then I just saw Mike Arizan from the Royal Bank just popped onto my screen. So welcome, Mike. What the judges are going to see, and you will all see, 10-minute presentations by each company, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. And then there'll be a 5-minute break so that the judges can fill out their scorecard, provide their comments. And again, please, judges, the comments are the most important thing tonight. And they will fill out a scorecard that looks just like this. And at the end, we will ask the judges to rank them 1 to 5, and the judges will collaborate at the end and deliberate and determine who is the winner for our room. As I said earlier, next Monday night at 7 p.m. is the finals. Tickets are complimentary. We're broadcasting it on Zoom just like this. Our goal is to get as many people out as possible, because the whole point of this exercise is to showcase these great companies and help them achieve whatever it is that they want, whether it's funding, customers, strategic partners, what have you. So please click on that link, register, it's free, tell your friends, and we hope to see you there next Monday. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because hopefully by now Max is here. Max is in the house. Welcome, Max. So just to remind you, Max, you're going to get 10 minutes to do your pitch. There's going to be 10 minutes of Q&A. Please share your, hey, there they are.
Hey, you got two Maxes. You got Max and Bogdan. How are you?
Max 1 and Max 2.
Oh, yeah. We don't know which is which.
Mad Max. All right, guys. So here's what I'd like you to do. Please share your screen. And whenever you're ready, start. Melanie will time you. I'll interrupt you at 10 minutes and we'll do the Q&A. So just whenever you're ready, please share the screen. And when you start, we'll start. And good luck.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let me just get this teed up. Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Then we will start now. So good evening, everyone. I'm Max Goodell. This is my co-founder, Bogdan Reich, and we're really excited to introduce you today to Stan, the first in AI property management. Now, we applied to TiEQuest last year when we only had 1 building, and we went all the way to the semifinals. We're back this year and we have over 100 buildings, and we want to win it all because in the next 90 days, we are going to more than triple again in size, and the TiEQuest prize will help us bring on those new communities. We launched Stan only last year, and we're already government backed and Amazon approved. We were finalists in FedEx's National Business Contest, winners of George Brown's annual DigiFest prize, and winners of the Rogers Innovation Award. And on our list of current clients, you'll find the 3 largest management companies in North America and the largest private home builder in North America. We started Stan right here in Toronto, and we're already live across North America. In fact, 90% of our business is coming from clients across the US right now. And in the middle of a global pandemic, now more than ever is a time for Stan. We've actually grown 10 times since COVID-19 started. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're the first virtual property management solution available. So our property management clients are trusting us to promote safe living in their buildings, allowing their management team to work remotely, send important health updates by text message, or even safely reopen amenities and allow residents to socially distance themselves. And the property management industry continues to prove that it's recession-proof. Not only have we grown during this pandemic, but during the last global recession, you might be interested to know that the largest management company in North America actually grew its revenues 25% from 2007 to 2009. And while the government of Canada continues to divert hundreds of millions of dollars away from normal business programs and grants to invest in vaccines, PPE, and other medical solutions for COVID, we are honored to say that we were just approved for a full research grant from IRAP. And we're also just named one of only 3 companies in the province to receive York Region's first innovation award, a lot of which has to do with the work we're doing in the AI space and to promote safe living. Now, the problem is something Bogdan and I know very well because we lived it. We actually used to be property managers, and if you've ever lived in a condo or an apartment yourself, you probably know how unresponsive your property manager can be. But a lot of that isn't their fault. If you're a property manager, you wake up every single day and have to wear many hats. You have to be an accounting expert, a legal expert, a maintenance professional, manage an on-site team, deal with a board, be on call 24/7 for any emergencies in your building. And on top of all of that, You get over 100 emails and calls every single day from residents just like you wanting to know things like, where's the pool? Or how much is a new key? And we know from our personal experience that 60 to 80% of a manager's day can be automated based on the types of inquiries they receive. Now, this is an opportunity we need to look at now because in the next 8 to 10 years, more than half of us are going to be living in condos and apartments. So 3 of us decided to find a solution. Bogdan and I spent 15 years working for the largest residential management company in North America. And Kayvon has over 10 years of AI and software development experience, and he actually worked directly with Ben Gertzel, one of the gentlemen who helped coin the term general artificial intelligence. And we created the solution, Stan. Stan is the first AI assistant for property managers that responds to all resident inquiries so a manager doesn't have to. And it works all by text message. There's no apps, software, logins, or training needed. So now if you're a resident in a condo, rather than email or call your property manager or go to their office, you would just text Stan, whether it's booking the elevator, complaining about a noisy neighbor, or reserving visitor parking. And Stan responds instantly, all by text message, 7 days a week. So because we can automate a majority of a property manager's day, we're saving our management clients $42,000 on average in labor per building every year. But what does this all mean? Let's maybe share a real life example. So this is a photo of one of our newest clients, Sun River in Utah. This is a retirement community, so you have to be by the bylaws 65 years or older to actually live there. There's over 5,000 residents, making it about triple the size of Canada's largest condominium association. And they needed a way to safely reopen their amenities with some of the COVID restrictions loosening in the state. So they chose Stan. In a matter of days, we had them fully onboarded. The management team didn't have to lift a finger. We set up a local phone number that residents and owners could text. And in the first few hours of going live, we received thousands of text messages. That pace has kept up ever since. And these are now inquiries that never have to go back to the management team. They're all diverted so that team can focus on more important tasks around the community. Let's look at the technology. Let's say you texted Stan a common question like, are there any notices for my building? A few things need to happen next. First, Stan needs to understand the request. So we built a natural language processor specific to the condo industry and fed it millions of data points. We then wrote our own machine learning algorithm so Stan can get smarter with every interaction. And we added integrations so Stan can talk to any existing condo software platform so it can be used by any building in North America. So the result is this. Stan can answer a question like that and tell you there is a notice, tell you about the notice, can attach that document in the text message conversation, and even go as far as to add it to your calendar.
Stan is already trusted by 28 of the largest companies in the industry. On our list of current clients, you'll find the 3 largest property management companies in North America, Ontario's largest property management company, North America's largest private home builder, and one of the most prestigious hotel brands in the world. But what we're most excited to share with you today is Stan's growth. We started this year with 2,500 units. As of today, we've grown 10 times to over 25,000 units. Wow. With our current wins, we're going to more than double in the next 90 days. And by year's end, we're expecting to more than double again to over 100,000 units. But the best part is this number right here, 1,002,000. That is the total number of units of our current clients today. Having access to that many units, we'll be servicing more units than the 3rd largest property management company in North America. So let's take a look at the market. While there's 70 million condo and apartment units in North America, our fee, $1.50 per door, which is in line with other software platforms that are less functional and have no AI capabilities. That means there's a $1.3 billion market, and that number jumps to $30 billion globally. So where does Stan fit into all this? Well, with our current pipeline, at our current rate, Stan is on pace to become an $18 million company in annual recurring revenue in only the next 24 months. And to put things into perspective, that's less than 1% of market share, which means it's very doable. Again, let's take it one step further now. So having access to this many units will open up additional revenue opportunities for us. Earning from partnerships like insurance, payment processing, in-suite maintenance, cable and internet, and even in-home services. These are things like cleaning and installation, dog walking, dry cleaning services, and more. All of which will multiply our annual revenues by 10 times. And then our competition. So we have 4 direct competitors. The first, a startup out of Toronto. They built a chatbot that answers a handful of questions for condos. And after 2 years, They weren't able to secure a single client and are no longer in business. Then there's a group out of San Francisco. They built a web application that answers basic tenant questions exclusively for rental buildings. They actually had challenges acquiring some paid clients as well, and they weren't able to get past 800 units. Well, they have since pivoted to a different business. Now there's two groups out of the UK. They built an application that uses AI to connect tenants in rental buildings with local trades. Those are things like plumbers and handymen. And as you know, Stan, we're in Canada and US. We answer all question types for all buildings, and we're at 25,000 units and counting.
And what we've shown you, we know we've shown you a lot so far, but really we look at this as just the start. With the way we're growing, we're collecting enough data that we're on pace to become the largest repository of residential building data in North America. And we really want to leverage that information to build a predictive platform that can autonomously manage properties. So imagine this. Imagine you're in your condo unit, you leave one day, you've accidentally left the water running, and Stan could tap into your leak detection sensors in your building, shut off your water, save a 40-story flood and a $20 million insurance claim, and send you a quick text to let you know what he just did. Or maybe you have a visitor coming over who needs to get into guest parking. Stan could use the cameras in the building, read their license plate, register for them for a visitor parking pass, let them up the elevator, and send you a text to let you know that they're in the lobby waiting for you. That's the way we're going. There's a lot of talk about smart cities these days, but they haven't fully arrived because smart cities require smart property management. And Stan is a smart property management solution that will allow these smart cities to really come in and exist. And the TiEQuest prize is also really important for us. As much as we're showing you our traction and our growth, we're still very much a startup. We started in the basement last year, and we've finally grown out of that to be servicing some of the largest clients across the industry. Bogdan and I put our personal savings into starting this business amongst starting families at the same time. And we continue to invest every dollar that comes into the business back into our growth. So the money from the prize will go directly into continuing to develop our AI so we can capture those 1 million units in our pipeline. So we'd love for you to choose Stan for TiEQuest this year, and just want to thank you for your time.
Guys, congratulations on a great presentation and the growth and development that you've achieved since last year. Way to go. And it's just, it makes us at TI so proud to see these companies really do so well. So congratulations. I'm really happy for you guys.
It's a thick skull. We can keep running into those walls, right? And
I give you a lot of credit. It's really great. So who's got the first question? Or they answered everything? We can move on now. Kidding.
I like Natasha very. Hi guys. When I first saw you guys last year, I had in my mind that you guys really have a killer-like proposition. And yeah, it's fantastic news what you've achieved. Just curious, when you get to like $18 million worth of revenue, what's your headcount is going to be at that time, approximately? Like, how big is your team is going to be from like people perspective, infrastructure, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you're probably we're lucky that we can run a pretty lean team because we've got a pretty good grasp on the market and kind of the conversations that are coming in and out. Depending on kind of the past, I would say roughly about 50 people, but probably even less than that. And I think a big chunk of that would actually come from really just supporting clients. We have an interesting kind of client in the property management space where it's generally been an industry that's slow to adopt technology. So even when you are introducing something new and the value is obvious, they still kind of want to have that human component to just kind of handhold through the process. So I think you'll see a big chunk of it coming from there, and then of course split with the tech and development side of things.
Okay. Good.
Hey, it's Mike from the IAF here. Great presentation. Two questions is, first, can you comment on how you acquired the first 100 buildings and how you're going to acquire the next 100? Yeah,
definitely. So we like to think we have almost gone sales down to a science. So we have kind of a 10-10 rule. So our client acquisition comes primarily from direct email to the client. So we have a list of about 30,000 property manager emails, and we will blast about 30,000 people bi-weekly. We've now just come across another 60,000 unique contacts. So we'll have just shy of 100,000 contacts, and we add about 4,000 to 5,000 emails per month. And when I say the 10-10 rule, so for every kind of major email campaign that we do, about 10% of those will convert into demos. So say on the 30,000, we'll convert 3,000 into demos, and then 10% of those demos will convert into paid clients, buildings, if you will. So that's those 3,000, another 10% will convert into 300 buildings, which is where we are. So it seems pretty, the numbers have continued to support that. So we're hoping with say 90,000 in the pipeline in terms of contacts, that we'll be able to add an incremental 600 buildings.
That's fantastic. And then the $42,000 in savings per building per year.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to comment on how you came up with that number?
Yeah, so that's actually clients reassigning labor. So I'll give you an example. Most recently, we had a new development in Markham, and developer was actually just starting to staff up the building. Typically, they would staff with 2 full-time managers and a full-time admin assistant, who's about $50,000 paid to the client with all your benefits and everything included. They did not put the admin in; they put Stan in instead. So that was actually $50,000. We've had 2 other clients most recently where they were going to share a part-time person, and it worked out to about $25,000 per building. And they, instead of adding that position, they put Stan in instead. So that's really based on the average admin assistant making approximately $40,000 to $50,000, and Stan actually coming in as a full replacement for that staff. Mind you, Mike, it's a good question. Like when we're also talking to our clients, we don't want to kind of instill a fear that, hey, the only value you get out of Stan is cutting labor and cutting heads, right? Especially when there's a lot of personal relationship that goes on at the building level. So there's also different ways that the clients use it. Labor efficiencies, as we call them, are definitely one way, but we never created Stan to eliminate people. We have clients that are using Stan purely from a value add for sales and marketing. So they're taking Stan, putting their name on it, and then going to developers and saying, hey, developer, pick me as your management company because I've got AI technology. We actually had a small mom and pop company in Florida, and this gentleman just kind of broke off, started his own company, and he actually won a $100,000 account, which is very big in the management industry, about 10 times the average. And he won it against some big national players because he was the only guy at the table with that kind of technology. So it really depends how the client wants to use it, but we have seen those actual savings. That's not a wheel Bogdan and I spun over here before we logged on to Zoom.
Cool, thank you.
Quick question, Bogdan. Thanks for the presentation. 2 questions. One is, can you comment on conversion or your current revenue and conversion from free service to paid service? And the second is, when you talked about competition, it seems what you are proposing very logical, well positioned. It seems there is a market, but yet it seems like there is no competition there. The Canadian company failed, US company pivoted to another. Like why Stan will be successful? What's the magic?
A few questions in there, yeah.
That's a good question, Mike. So let's start with you mentioned the competitors. So yeah, the condo industry is somewhat muddy. When we first started this, people were actually asking why we were going to the condo space instead of the rental space. We look at that as a moat for us because we understand the industry, because of our background and expertise. We are able to understand and kind of relate with the property managers and the management companies. So when we start all these demos, all these onboarding calls and stuff, we built trust with our clients. So that's one of the ways that we have a moat, and we sort of focus on condos versus rental. As you saw, most of them were just rental company, were applications that were built for rental companies. It's kind of flashy. Property management for condos is a bit of the forgotten stepchild. Most people don't get into this. In rental, you have leasing and other things that you can do there. So that's why we focused on condo, and because of our network, we have a strong network. We come from the largest management company in North America, second largest. We know some of the executives there, so we've had time with them. So there's where we focused on initially with condos.
And to put that, some of those competitors that we showed actually built platforms that required the manager to do the work and the onboarding and the setup. One thing we've done very unique is we've made Stan softwareless. So all the client gets, and it sounds kind of a bit eerie or Terminator-like, all the client gets is day one, they have the phone number and they're set up. We get some documents ahead of time and do some kind of check some quick boxes. and then they're ready to go. So there's nothing they have to maintain. So that's where some others have fallen off. To your other questions about conversions and revenue, we do not have any free trials anymore. So everyone who starts now starts as a paid client. We started very early on with a few paid clients just to build up some case studies and build some numbers that we could go and then resell and grow to others. In doing so, we're also working on our pricing strategy. So this month we'll bill about, we'll do 12,000 MRR and then closer to 15,000 with our onboarding fees. And part of that is because very early on we started with different pricing strategies. So we started about 13 cents a door a month, and we said, okay, let's push this as we go, and we're proving the value. We doubled that in 90 days to about a quarter per door, so 25 cents per door per month. Then 90 days later, we doubled that to about 50 cents per door per month. Now we're testing buildings at about $1 per month to $4 per unit per month. And we're probably going to end up, as you saw in the presentation, about $1.50 per month, because that's kind of the sweet spot for other technology in the space.
And your contracts are monthly, or you have annual contract and then?
So this is fun, because usually you would think a client would try and twist your arm to get you into a monthly contract, but our clients have, and this kind of boggled our mind, our clients are actually trying to get into 12-month or longer contracts, because the mentality in property management is fix my budget so I don't have increases. So our average contract right now is 8 to 12 months. And the reason it's that average, because we have some earlier ones that were on a subscription model. We started subscription because we thought it would be easier, but now we're starting everyone at 12 months. Give you an example, we have a new very large company that's in 13 states. Their agreement is out right now, and they're going to start at 12 months, auto renewal.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Cecil here. A quick question. Right now, can you clarify, are you purely focused on the chat functionality? What about some of the other services like maintenance and cleaning and some of the more mundane administrative tasks?
Yeah, great question. We started, the chat feature is the low hanging fruit because it eats up the majority of the day. So it's the biggest kind of value punch for clients. So that's why we started there. And the idea is, let's get our foot in the door, and then we can start kind of spreading the tentacles into maintenance, virtual concierge. Condos are interesting because the condo corporation is not responsible for any in-suite maintenance legally. So a lot of times they don't even deal with that, and they're very kind of careful who they want to refer. But when it comes to kind of coordinating those things, we actually are involved. So we'll touch an average of 400 to 1,000 unique kind of data points or FAQs per building. And some of those are actually stick handling things like HVAC maintenance with the superintendent. So on-site staff can also tech stand the same way a resident can. It's not just FAQ based. It's they know that, hey, Bogdan is the superintendent for my building. So if I get X type of inquiry, I'm going to message Bogdan and see if he can go investigate it, as an example. So we do some of that. And we also diagnose some relatively softball maintenance questions to a degree. Actually, some are quite complex. We have one superintendent whose workload went down by 30% because we started diagnosing things like clogged toilets, filters for HVAC, resetting electrical panels, where he didn't need to go in the suite and do it himself. So we have started to make those moves, but we've started again with kind of the broader low-hanging fruit, which is the questions from residents.
Guys, that's 10 minutes, unfortunately. So that's it. We're done. Well done. Excellent presentation.
Thank you,
I'll point out to you that one of our past winners was Grade Slam, which kind of solved the tutoring problem with a very simple text solution, just like this. So good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And let yourself out, unshare your screen, and the judges are going to complete their judging.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Everyone. Thanks, Jeff.
Great job, guys. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Bye now. Bye.
Bye-bye. So judges, remember that you're still live on Zoom, not just us, but a few people beyond us. So be careful what you say and do. You now have 5 minutes to do your thing. Fill out the form, make some comments. If you need to, get a cup of coffee, now's the time to do it. And we'll be back in 4.5 minutes.
What's the entry number?
Sorry?
On the scoring sheet, there's an entry number.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It was a quick trick question. Hi, Zeze. It's Jeff here. How are you, bud?
Hi, Jeff. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Yes, sir.
So you're live.
All right.
So careful what you say, what you do. The judges are still judging the last group.
Not a problem.
And so what's going to happen as soon as they're finished, I'm going to invite you to share your screen. And
Yes,
then
sir.
whenever you're ready, you'll have 10 minutes to present. And then there'll be 10 minutes of Q&A. And then you'll unshare your screen and leave. And then they'll be doing this for you shortly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just hang tight for a minute or two. We're just going to finish up here and then you'll be up. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody ready? Okay, thanks. Everybody, this is Zeze Peters from Beam City. Zeze, whenever you're ready, fire up the screen and we'll start timing as soon as you start. So take your time, do your thing. I can't hear you if you're talking.
You're muted.
We can see your screen, but I still don't hear you.
Yeah, I've unmuted myself now.
Okay, so you're good to go. Whenever you're ready, we'll start the timer.
All right, cool. So let me just shrink my okay, I'll just do this. Okay, because that works. Okay, good evening, everyone. I know it's later in the evening than many of us are used to, but that's fine. I'm Zeze Peters, founder and CEO of Beam City, and I'd like to introduce you to DNA. It's our next generation advertising automation platform that's helping cut waste in advertising and help our clients get up to 36 times better results within weeks. So the problem we're solving, 60% of digital ad spend is wasted. That means that in 2019, this number came up to $199.95 billion wasted in digital advertising. So if you're a small business spending $3,000 a month, it means that you probably wasted $21,000 in digital advertising. This makes getting a return on investment pretty tough. And that's why we use things like return on ad spend instead as a proxy. So what's the source of all this complexity, of all this waste? Well, it turns out that the tools we use have a lot of the complexity built in terms of running tests to figure out what works. Click fraud is rampant. Up to 20% of clicks are reported to be fraudulent nowadays. And humans are just not built to handle big data sets. Ads are big data items in the digital age, and humans are not very good at seeing and spotting patterns quick enough to make changes. So what we've built is DNA. It's a simple to use software as a service tool to help businesses to cut ad waste and boost your ROI. The platform is built to help you to plan, automate, and optimize your ads on Google, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Yahoo, Bing, and millions of sites and apps so that you can get up to 36 times better results within days. Now, we've already gone out and done a lot of things. Since we started, we've built a fully functional platform using a proprietary temporal graph on the Microsoft stack. We've achieved 135% revenue growth in the last 2 months, and we're tracking to hit about 15,000 by the end of Q3. End of Q3 is the nice way to say it. And we've been able to demonstrate fantastic results with our clients, including 5 case studies and getting 20 new clients since COVID began. So we're actually COVID resilient. Previously, we were the world's first video-based shopping mall. We found that physical stores, though, were dying at a really fast pace, so we pivoted, and COVID hasn't helped them either. Why are we doing this right now? Well, frankly, the current generation of tools are just too complicated, and they help businesses to make what I call dumb vanilla ads using low growth ad formats. So search and banner ads, the big guys of 10, 20 years ago are really decelerating. They only grew 13% in 2019. Whereas Beam City is super simple to use for marketers to create 5G ready next generation advertising using fast growth formats like video, audio, and mobile. These formats grew up to 40% or $40 billion in the first half of 2019. So we're targeting growth. Also in this day and age, COVID has really disrupted a lot of industries. We found that a lot of clients' attentions moved online once the isolation kicked in and they're not taking it back. So digital advertising is more critical now than it's ever been. We are different. We are, in fact, so different that we're 18 months ahead of the curve technology and UX-wise with our competitors. Our platform does set up automatically. So that means if you are a small business or a medium-sized business, you tell us what your category is, and we've got 400 preset profiles that you can just pick and get going with your advertising and start getting results right away. The system also allows you to figure out who your ideal customers are by telling it their persona, and it will predict where these people live and work down to the postal code in all of Canada and all of the United States. This allows you to get started with your best guess of the right customer quickly. However, if you've already got some experience on Google or Facebook, then you can import that data, import your existing good Google settings, and our platform will start where you are and improve on your performance day one. That way people can get started fast. However, once you get started, this is where the meat comes in. Our AI and algorithms cut ad waste. Our objective rank algorithm does 7-dimensional advertising optimization in real time. Compare this with a person that might maybe analyze and monitor their own campaigns 1 hour a day, and you can see the big difference. 23 more hours of optimization by a computer, much bigger data versus humans who might do only 1. On top of that, the system learns so that over time it can figure out who, what, when, and where cares about what it is you're promoting, so you can reach them in one click going forward. But we talked about being a next-gen ad automation platform, and we have next-gen ad formats. So Evo ads, we used to call these storylines. These are ads that evolve day by day based on the demographics, the day itself, or any events going on, so that people can have an experience that does not get boring while engaging with your brand. Also, we're omnichannel, like we already talked about, so that you can make an ad once and it goes out to search, social, and other formats in no time. To build this all out, we've been able to draft 13 patents. We've got trade secrets on our AI and algorithms, sorry. And because our platform learns, it means that the client gets localized data network effects. And as a platform, we get platform scale network effects so that the more ads we run, the more it gets smart over time. We help clients get the most of what they want, which is highest cost savings and getting their time back. If you look at this graph, you'll notice that a lot of the platforms, the base platforms themselves, are the most complicated to use. You get the least amount of savings. It takes months to train. Different people have come and made single, 2 or 3 channel platforms, but a lot of these guys actually sell consulting. You call them, they do the work for you. You spend thousands of dollars just to get started. But with Beam City, we've automated enough that you're able to actually reduce the cost of labor and the cost of advertising using a SaaS model. And because we've automated so much in the setup, you can get started in minutes and get results within days. We've also built a 1-year roadmap to achieve ubiquitous advertising on demand, which is our goal. And to reach that, we're building out 30 more platforms, including things like Pinterest, TikTok, and DuckDuckGo. We have a way to help businesses to automate their own outcomes using Zeitgeist, our weather-controlled advertising system, or automatic CRO, which is automatic conversion rate optimization, that allows the system to see from before the click till after the conversion who's the right customer and tweak your ads so that your ads focus on the right people. We don't have that today, but that's on our roadmap. Personalization at scale, so that multi-location brands like Walmart that've got 2,000 stores can have 2,000 automatically generated and modified and managed DNAs for every single one of their stores, so they can reach the right customer at the right time to drive that sale that they're looking for on demand. There's a lot of other really cool stuff. We'll talk about more of them. But ultimately, our plan is to help businesses to focus on their business while our AI handles the technical advertising details. It's a huge market. According to PNS Intelligence, it's 32.6 billion by 2024. But even today, we can already calculate a bottoms-up market size of about 23 billion from Shopify, Facebook, and WooCommerce. And our strategy to go after this is by working with direct-to-consumer brands and marketing agencies, combining that with startup communities so that we can get access to these businesses, and advertising automation. So automating ourselves, our own ads. We've previously been able to see a 400% ROI. We started a full-time campaign doing that this week. And frictionless platform integrations with things like Shopify so that we can have access to that 1 million Shopify businesses ASAP. How do we make money? The software as a service drives usage while the ad spend drives our profit. We have subscriptions and a 14-day free trial so businesses can come in, figure out what works and how to use it and how much satisfaction they can get. But ultimately, the more ad spend the more money they spend on ads, the more we make, because our optimization algorithm runs near full time in real time to give them better results going forward. Take a small fee for that. The fee reduces the more you spend on ads. We've made progress despite COVID. So in Q2, we got into Microsoft for Startups. So we've got 120 grand in credits to help us do more compute without taking cash out of our pockets. We got shortlisted for Techstars Comcast out of Philadelphia. And our Shopify app is being reviewed right now so that it can come out in the next few days. Also in the pipeline include businesses like Smokes Patinery, Randacor, which is actually a big conglomerate in the US of about 30 top brands. Cassette, which is a huge agency. They do McDonald's and the government of Canada. We're working to start a pilot with them. And businesses like Tim Hortons, they have over 8,000 locations. We've got an amazing team. Myself, Zeze Peters, Cornell-educated founder, rocket scientist, and I'm actually a patent holder. Fortune 1000 companies build million-dollar software in e-commerce, applied AI, and other spaces. My director of engineering has 15 years of experience, 30 years for my director of partnerships, 15 years for the director of creative and design, and our intern helps us with research and making sure our customers are happy once they get started on our platform. We're also a member of a lot of communities in the Toronto ecosystem. So if you ask around, you're probably going to hear about Zeze. Finally, we're building a huge company, 100 million in 5 to 7 years. One of the preconceived notions people think is ad tech companies are not worth that much, and there's a lot of them. But in reality, advertising automation is a much smaller niche in this space. But more importantly, post-IPO, SaaS ad tech aggregators like ourselves are valued 14x revenues, like Active Campaign, Datorama, Marketo. The businesses out there that would purchase us at that size, but we plan on building a huge company.
Zeze, I hate to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
It's 10 minutes, so maybe somebody will ask you a question about what you're going to do with your money.
Not a problem. This is my last slide anyway.
And if I'll ask the question, what are you going to do with the money?
Right, so we're going to use the money that we're raising to help accelerate platform and digital ad sales. So that money will go straight into sales so we can keep growing the company. We found that we have a good cost of acquisition for clients. So take 100 grand, put it in. I mean, you know how far that's going to go. The aim is to do things to help us to increase our valuation by 10x in 2 years, but also as leverage towards a fundraise of about $1 million.
Okay, great. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
It's a whole different story than last year, so it's very interesting to see the pivot. And congratulations for getting so much traction in such a short period of time. Who has the first question?
Please.
Hey, Zeze, it's Mike here from Mars IAF.
Hey.
Great presentation. 2 questions. That 15,000, is that net to you or is that your gross revenue?
That will be our take, 15 grand to us, not the total amount of money passing through our system.
Okay, and what is your margins on, or is it that 2.5 to 9 point something % there that you mentioned is the take rate on or inventory markup?
So I guess you're thinking about it from an ad inventory markup perspective, and yes, that's part of what we earn, but we also earn a subscription fee. So the customer pays a subscription fee depending on what kind of next-gen features they want, and then the automation, the real-time optimization is a fee that they pay on top of that.
And does your inventory come from the RTB markets, or are you doing like API calls into other people's platforms? And
we're doing API calls into other people's platforms. We didn't find that the RTB markets as a primary focus are a scalable, useful, or profitable way for us to grow. Frankly, most RTB platforms are not on enough omni-channels as we want. So we've built a proprietary platform that allows us to easily plug into like the ones we already have. We've got Twitter and LinkedIn that we'll be finishing up before the end of July. And we've got a lot more platforms, like I mentioned before, that we're going to be pushing into because we're building something proprietary.
So if I understand correctly, then the actual ad targeting and ad trafficking is actually going on inside those platforms.
Exactly right.
You're APIing into them and then pulling whatever data back you can, I'm guessing. So do you use your own ad server?
It's a combination of things. So one, we do a lot of data. So when we get the information from the client, we're able to not only target using their APIs, but we can do a lot of high-level meta targeting. So for example, when we say we can figure out where people live and work based on their demographics, Google is not going to give you any of that stuff when you just choose women and income size. And some of these platforms also don't have matching parameters to what we do. So what we've done is normalize the data, normalize the targeting across the platforms, but we also have pre-targeting data that we send to those guys to make sure your promotions show up in the right spot to the right people.
Are you running your own DMP then?
We've built our own proprietary server to run and manage and optimize all these ads.
Okay.
Next question.
Yeah, it's Mahendra.
Hi.
So Shopify, are they your customer or their customers are your customer?
Their customers are our customer, and you know, depending on how things go, they could be a potential future partner or acquirer. But we're more focused on the million-plus Shopify businesses that that run using the Shopify platform.
Yeah, I mean was my first reaction. Shopify will take you out.
Well, if you go on the Shopify App Store, there are about 4,000 apps, and if you go into the marketing space, there's about 100 apps. But when you look at advertising automation, there's maybe 30 of them, and most of them are single channel, a few multi-channel. Shopify has intimated, and they even had a competition early in the year, talking about the fact that they're looking for businesses that will help their customers get the best out of Shopify. And there's nothing better than that than what we're doing here, because every Shopify Plus business, you know, they start off, they're spending $2,000 a month, they're trying to get sales, and they end up having to hire people to figure out how to get those eyeballs into the platform. Shopify doesn't do it natively. So our platform is an app that they can install on Shopify so that their Shopify store can not only have a nice, beautiful look, it can also get ideal customers on demand thanks to our app.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this as a Shopify, not quite going the marketplace approach, but really helping their business, their digital tenants.
That's right.
Drive traffic, right?
Yes, it's effectively a PayPal model where eBay was where you hosted your stuff, but PayPal helped you get money. Yeah. And so if you apply this in this case, then this is Shopify helping you have a pretty website. Beam City allows you to get customers that give you money.
Yeah, because how else a lot of small businesses are going to know you? You're going to have to work with a player like Shopify.
Yes, and that's why we're finishing up our app to get on Shopify, but also working with businesses like Digital Main Street. I don't know if you know about their programs. They have the Shop Here program where they're reaching out to about 100,000 businesses by the end of the summer will be part of the Shop Here program. It allows them to basically go online. And so we're working with those guys so that we can either be part of their workflow or advertise directly to businesses that discover that program so that we can have a huge say or play inside that space.
Okay.
So your growth strategy is by building kind of partnerships like with Shopify and digital, what's the name?
Platform integrations is part of it, yes, and startup communities is another part of it.
And you also plan to go directly somehow to advertise somehow and go directly to the customers as well?
That's right. So by using an omni-channel strategy, it allows people to hear about us a few times. So if you talk to any of the marketing gurus in the world, like Mark Ritson or any people like that, they'll tell you that you want to reach out to your customer in at least 5 different ways. Now, our platform allows our clients to do that, but we're also using our platform to do the same thing. So by combining reaching, getting in front of these guys on Google and Facebook and Snapchat, all these platforms, but also talking to their communities, one, they can hear about us, and then two, get an action, right? A call to action through their trusted community to come on board. So for example, the DMZ, we had a conversation today about the DMZ as a company using our platform, but we're also about to get our DMZ perks out onto the DMZ perks library, the Communitech perks library, so that all those startups can also use it. We're not expecting to make a ton of money out of small startups, but that's where all the growth is, and that's where also we can learn the most from the hardest use cases, which when you're making AI systems, you want to get the worst cases early, and we're into that. We're into doing that.
Zeze, just make a note.
Yes,
win or lose today, you should follow up with Mahendra or me about Digital Main Street, because the City of Toronto is one of TiEQuest's sponsors.
Thank you.
We have a very good relationship with them, and I'm sure that they would be very excited to see one of the TiEQuest companies work on the Digital Main Street.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm definitely going to be doing that.
Can you touch on the sales cycle? Also, you mentioned two very different types of customers, the agent,
right,
and then, a Shopify store, for example. What is the competency that's required by a user?
So to use our platform, the platform is super easy to use so that the user's competency doesn't need to be high. However, we do find that people who run businesses don't want to wear 7 hats at once. Marketing isn't just a single hat. It ends up being content creation. Then you make the ads, then you got to analyze it. In the meantime, they've got to hire people. They've got to get inventory. They've got to do other work. So people who've got the time can use it directly. But agencies themselves, we're not trying to make agencies go extinct. In fact, we see agencies as a very important part of our growth strategy, because just like Microsoft did with value-added resellers, agencies can use our tool to save themselves a lot of time, increase their margins, while selling it to customers as a way to get new business. In fact, one of our agency businesses out of Vancouver is using this right now to corner the restaurant space over there so that they can get restaurants onto the platform, get them hundreds of phone calls every single week, so that they can make more sales. So the agencies for us allow us to get customers without us having to talk to those customers, even though we too want to be able to reach out to customers directly.
Zeze, I have to unfortunately cut you off. You're at time. It was an excellent presentation.
Appreciate
Congratulations.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. So please unshare your screen and leave the room, and then the judges will be doing their judging, and we will be back in 5 minutes. Great.
Appreciate you guys. I'll leave right now. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Good luck, man.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys, we have 5 minutes.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, cool.
Jeff Dennis here. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. So we're live, so just careful what you say and do. The judges are still judging the last presentation. They've got a couple more minutes. When they're finished, I'm going to invite you to share your screen. And then whenever you're ready, just start, and you'll have 10 minutes to pitch, and then you'll have 10 minutes of Q&A. And when that's over, you'll unshare your screen and leave, and the judges will be doing what they're doing now for you, and on we go. So we're still a couple minutes away, so just sit tight, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's on the screen.
So you guys can share your screen and start whenever you're ready.
Cool.
Okay.
You're going to have 10 minutes. So we've got Honeybee up next. So take it away, guys, whenever you're ready.
Click share.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, we can see it. That's great. All right. Well, whenever you're ready, we'll start the timer. Good luck, guys.
Okay, thank you. So Honeybee, we connect researchers and study participants. So researchers need people like you all the time to contribute to studies, to drive critical decisions and innovation. This bulletin board represents the chaos researchers currently face when recruiting for study participants. It's also the exact University of Toronto bulletin board where I posted a paper ad to recruit participants for a PASTA study during my master's thesis project. So I needed 60 young adult males to come in. They would complete 5 lunch periods and even get paid out $300 per person. It sounds like it would have been easy to recruit, but it wasn't. Because of recruitment, I actually almost didn't graduate on time. I had to hire a team of 20 people to run the lab for me while I spent my graduate student life learning to be a digital marketer. And recruitment was extremely expensive. After exhausting social media, I spent $5,000 of my research grant on subway ads in Toronto, and I still didn't meet my quota. So I resorted to asking friends to fill in and completed participants to come back. And because recruiting for male-only study is much easier, I actually purposely designed my study to not include females. Imagine you're buying a bag of pasta at the store with a Health Canada nutrition claim on it that stemmed from research based on data from my friends, repeated participants, and only males. Bias and outcomes due to recruitment causes a huge problem for everyone, and I was just one example. Globally, recruitment challenges causes 80% of studies to be delayed, 37% of studies terminated, and 10% don't get a single recruit. We even surveyed researchers around the world, and we found out that everyone is struggling with recruitment because only 10% of the world participates in research. And it's low because studies are difficult to find. There's no centralized location for them, and even if you find a study, chances are you're not eligible. Research study participation isn't really something people think about either. There's a lack of understanding in what it entails and a stigma around study participation. It's easy to think that you're just a guinea pig. And we also found that there's a lack of tangibility to research after you're done a study. 90% of participants want study results, but only 9% get them. It's easy to feel like you're left in the dark after doing a study.
Honeybee solves this problem by bridging the gap between researchers and participants. We make it easy for people to navigate the entire research participation experience, from finding eligible studies all the way to learning about your impact on research. Here's how it works. Researchers can easily post their studies on our marketplace. Then participants can browse and filter through studies that they're eligible for. If interested, they can review the listing in more detail. And finally, if the participant is eligible, they can request to join and communicate with the researcher completely anonymously. In addition to our core platform that matches participants to researchers, we're also launching our community section at the end of this month. And this community feature allows researchers to disseminate study results back to the public in easy to understand layman's language in the form of short videos and articles. Through talking to our users, we found out that not only are participants excited to find out study results, researchers are very eager to share and do that and do the extra work to write or record videos about their field of study. Overall, Honeybee enables researchers to save time and money conducting studies. We enable participants to earn benefits from joining studies, and through faster fill rates and more diverse data will improve overall research outcomes. And this can only be achieved together through a shared research community that is more connected and educated than ever before. We've already begun connecting researchers and participants in these three fields of research, as our technology is so easily integratable across all three sectors. Globally, there are 2.5 million research studies conducted every year. Currently, about 2 million use public recruitment methods and are serviceable by Honeybee. And we're beginning to target simple studies in the health and wellness sector with a total of 200,000 studies conducted per year. In each study, researchers recruit approximately 100 people and will pay Honeybee an average of a service fee of $30 per participant. Our sales potential is $600 million in revenue for our initial target market. And here's how we make money. Currently, researchers can pay for a top ad position. We've also ran some pilot projects to test other revenue streams. We plan to have several revenue streams down the line that require deeper technological infrastructure. Our ideal method of charging is to have a fee per successful enrollment into a study, and then layer on premium features, such as wearable integration and in-app surveys. Finally, group licensing on a project basis or department-wide basis. Although we haven't monetized on enrollment fees yet, we're talking to researchers daily to figure out how research is changing in the post-pandemic world to drive our business decisions.
What we know is the landscape of people-driven research is changing, and what we previously thought was an archaic area, researchers are now much more open to adopting new technologies to engage people remotely. Research protocols are also changing to adjust to the new normal and moving parts of studies online whenever possible. Funding organizations are realizing this and enabling researchers to submit grant proposals with budgets for recruiting and management technology. Finally, in the COVID and post-COVID world, people are becoming in touch with their physical and mental health more than ever before. And there's an opportunity here to alleviate the stigma associated with research participation and achieve this mindset shift towards health research and educate people about participation. So here's how we've been reaching our users. For both participants and researchers, product champions who have been our early adopters act as organic influencers. Viral elements that we're building will drive positive network effects, including referrals and third-party integrations. Partnerships with community organizations like Happy Funeral Life, Heart and Stroke Foundation, and startups are helping outreach our brand. We're about to launch a community section as well that will drive SEO, but also encourage pre and post-study engagement from existing and new users. And so far it's been working. We launched our MVP about a year ago, and since then we've supported over 200 labs and institutions across Canada, US, and the UK. Right now there's about 70 active research studies listed, and we completed 3 paid pilot projects to test our revenue streams, and currently working out kinks with a startup to test out a new referral system. According to our North Star metric of study requests that we facilitate, we've been growing over 20% month over month. In total, we facilitated over 3,000 studies in the last year, 3,000 study requests in the last year. Just last night, we actually reached 1,000 participant users, of which 750 of them have joined research studies. Each participant requests to join around 4 studies over time, and this could not have been achieved without a capable and determined team. In the core team, we're actually not coders by training, but we've built a HIPAA compliant web and mobile app within a year with all the features we talked about entirely in-house. I have 2 years of experience in clinical research at U of T. Before that, I was a product developer at Yum Brands under KFC and also with Maple Leaf Foods. I was heavily immersed in consumer research. I've been a lifetime content creator, which has transferred to skills in UI, UX, marketing, and branding. And I also started my first mini ghetto business at 7 years old.
I graduated from the U of T with a master's in materials engineering, and I have 1 year of process engineering experience at Life Labs, where I was exposed to clinical processes in the health space. Over the last year, I've taught myself everything that I know in web and mobile development, as well as DevOps, in order to make Honeybee a reality. In addition to our team, we've heavily researched this area, and we believe that we're building a cohesive package to what's missing in the landscape of participant recruitment and management to make it stick and popularize research participation. And although there are competitors in the space, we're better because we've made research participation highly accessible with a streamlined UI and user experience to make it a pleasure to use our platform. And even though there are big players in the space, such as Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, who's really going to trust their personal health data with them? We've built our platform alongside research ethics boards and hold privacy, security, and ethics to the highest degree. And finally, Honeybee is the only company who is focused on the root of this problem, which is the negative perception that people have towards research studies. By bridging the gap between researchers and participants, and by building an approachable brand, we will shed light on study participation and be the first thing that comes to mind when anybody thinks research.
Honeybee is revolutionizing the way research is being done by creating public access. So you can feel empowered to influence the development of products, services, and policies that affect millions of people. And we wish to have your support in making this world a happier and healthier place. Thank you for your time.
Wow, what a great presentation. Thank you, guys. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out how to stop sharing. Oh, there we go, end show.
Oh, that's beautiful. So guys, we've got 10 minutes for Q&A, so it's up to the judges now. Anybody got a question? Who wants to jump in?
I have a question.
Fire away.
You mentioned data security as a big kind of consideration for anyone getting involved with Honeybee. You think people will be more open to share their personal data with Honeybee versus Apple?
Oh, you want? You can take it. Okay. We don't actually, in terms of health data, we don't actually collect any of the data ourselves for research studies. So the researchers do their data collection in whatever method they do data collection. And if we, and then if we do, collect any information for like future pre-screen questionnaires that we're building for future features, that they will be HIPAA compliant and de-anonymized and also encrypted.
Okay, thanks.
And in addition to that, we've actually built our platform alongside privacy officers from hospitals in Toronto and also research ethics boards in Toronto, so that the data flow within our backend is extremely transparent. If there's issues with that, we like work with them to figure out how we can increase security of the platform.
Hey, it's Mike from Mars IAF. Great presentation. Quick question on the revenue model. So you mentioned $100 for the top ad spot. I'm guessing that's on your page or within your app. But you also mentioned $30 per study. So which one is I guess the revenue model, or is it both?
Yeah, so the $100 is like a non-recurring thing. People have the option to pay for it. The $30 is the transaction fee that we hope to implement before the end of the year that will be collected upon successful enrollment. So that's kind of like our ideal method of revenue. But we have other streams that we layered on. We just didn't really talk about them as in as much detail, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so the $30 hasn't been implemented yet, but that would be basically like the cost to post a research, or if one is successful.
It's every participant that gets connected to a study. They pay per participant, so per transaction.
Okay, so the researcher pays $30 per participant to you guys. And do you have to pay the participant, or does the researcher then pay the participant?
The ideal thing is that we digitize the whole thing on Honeybee, where the researcher will, enroll the participant, and then at the end, when they pay out the participant, we take a cut. There's a lot of issues to implementing that with research ethics and everything. So our more immediate and more tangible revenue stream is to be able to charge for a successful enrollment rather than a successful completion of a study. We also didn't detail this in the pitch deck, but we want to tailor the specific amount that each researcher pays based on the time and duration they have for recruitment. Like the faster you recruit, the less time you have to recruit, the higher we charge. For example, studies that have like a lot of eligibility criteria, those participants are harder to find, so we would charge more. And then studies that have more participants, obviously we charge more. So it depends on the research study is what I'm trying to say. But on average, people already pay $30 per person recruited. And so that's the average we use to show in the deck.
Kind of like surge pricing then, right?
Yeah, it can go, like my friend was recruiting for his PhD, paying $2,000 per diabetic pop drinker that he could find to a recruiting agency. So.
And that's sort of my next question is how many users do you need on your platform to be able to complete somebody's request on the researcher side? Because I'm assuming it's not just as simple as like, male, female, or age demographic is this, but it's something a little bit more. I'm trying to find a needle in a haystack. And therefore, if I need 1,000 people on my study, you're going to need 10,000 people in your population to pull from to satisfy that 1,000.
Yeah, that's a great question. To be honest, I don't have an exact answer, but the thought process towards that is that we have been specifically targeting researchers with studies that are relatively simple, with a broad population. And then that translates to a much easier time for us to fill those studies. Some studies have a lot of success filling, like if they're, you go into a lab and you're talking to a robot for the duration of the study, like people find that really cool, and those studies can almost fill 100% on Honeybee. Researchers have told us that they exclusively just use us for recruitment if it's like that 18 to 35-year-old demographic. Where the challenge is the middle-aged to older adults and parents with kids. So what we've done is now we're working with like different organization and community partners to be able to get those groups like Toronto for Kids, Happy Senior Life, to attract more people. And we are actually finding that some of those studies are filling at a 30 to 40% rate, at an average about like, 100 participants. So.
And something else to highlight is that this is like our phase one. We're kind of getting the easy studies to build up our participant pool. And once we have the core pool, we can implement our referral system, which basically a participant, if they refer someone else to a study, then the first participant will get paid out when the person they referred gets finished with that study. Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Could you tell about what's the competitive landscape in the aspect of the companies out there who want to get the data? Are they really going out recruiting candidates themselves mainly, or are there other honeybee-like companies out there, like yourself out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of big players in the space, Apple, mTurk from Amazon, Facebook Viewpoints. They're all trying to do similar things. The difference in what we're doing is that security, privacy, and ethics aspect,
as well as community,
as well as the community. And then there's also like small players that, like some of them are even local in Toronto, that are trying to do very similar things. But we believe that like our product and the vision that we have for what we're doing trumps what's currently out there in the smaller startup space.
Mahendra, you have a question?
Yeah, so explain the difference between a survey and research.
Survey and research.
In our deck, we refer to them as the same thing. As long as the survey is, like publicly recruited and needs participants to fill it out for whatever reason, to do market research, consumer research, health research, whatever, it can go on Honeybee. So there isn't really a difference there. I think maybe to help answer this better, there's a lot of in-person studies that we were actually targeting in the beginning where people actually have to physically go into a lab. But a lot of them have come to a halt because of the pandemic. And a lot of studies are actually finding ways to move their research online. It's not going to be the same, but temporarily they're trying to replace that with possibly surveys or like sending a product to a person's house so that they can test it. So we have been able to help those, purely just online surveys, but also research studies that are looking at products or focus groups, interviews, stuff like that are being conducted remotely as well.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that question is, if it's pure research and your initial target is academics or other think tanks in the organization, you're restricted by their budgets and therefore revenues for you. If you position yourself as surveying, then you open up a broader market. I'll bet there's competition, okay? But everybody wants feedback, and you suddenly get the whole consumer products and services market available to you. Once you develop and demonstrate you've got stickiness to your app or technology. Because at the end of the day, the response rates, whether it's research, paid, you want a high response rate and more intelligent information coming out of it, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's, keep that in mind.
Oh, guys, I hate to be the Grinch who stole the time, but it's over. We're actually past time. So thank you very much, Honeybee. You guys were great. So let yourselves out. The judges now have 5 minutes to score their scorecards, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes with the next contestant. So well done, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care, and thanks for the question.
Bye.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, sorry. Welcome. Hi, so here's the drill. The judges are still scoring the last contestant, so we're live.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you to share your screen. And then whenever you're ready, you'll start and you'll have 10 minutes to pitch. And then after that, there'll be 10 minutes of questions. And then you'll let yourself out and the judges will score and we'll see the last one. So
Awesome. I'm just waiting for my another co-founder, so he will join in.
So just sit tight for a few minutes. We still got 3.5 minutes of scoring. So just sit tight. We'll be with you in a minute.
Okay, sounds good.
So are we having a problem? Is that what's going on?
I'm seeing, I don't know if they are in the chat. They're saying they're in here. But yeah, okay. So I do see it.
Who are you looking for?
Anthony.
He's in the other room, Mel.
Oh.
I can
Is
see.
it supposed to be in this room? Or
It's okay. I've just promoted him.
Okay, great. Thank you.
oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we're expecting.
Excellent. So you guys want to share your screen, and then you'll have 10 minutes to present and 10 minutes of Q&A. So
I think Anthony will be presenting his screen.
okay, well, I see his screen. That's great. So whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Yeah, Anthony, you can take it away. I don't hear you.
He's muted. Anthony's muted.
Yes, I'm not sure what. Anthony, you're muted.
Mel, don't start timing till we sort this out, please. Well, you're not muted, but you're garbled.
Okay. How about now? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
No worries. We're not going to start.
Alrighty.
We're not going to start timing till you're ready. So take a deep breath, and away you go.
All right. So thank you guys for having us here today. My name's Anthony. I'm the COO and CFO of Veemly, and this is Hassan. He's the CTO of Veemly. And we'll just kind of jump into this.
Yes.
So it all started about like 2 years ago in 2018. Hassan and I were discussing over a couple of bridges about how the difference between celebrity endorsements has changed over the last like 20 years. When in the 1990s, Michael Jordan, big star quarterbacks, they would all get paid a large sum of money in order to kind of promote a product, you know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Nike. And now with the new social media digital revolution that's happening, you know, currently today and over the last 10 years, there's been kind of like a social distribution of what an influencer and a celebrity endorsement is. And now kind of everyone is an influencer. And we've probably seen this through kinds of Instagram and Facebook channels. If you guys know this guy here, this is Ty Lopez. He's pretty famous for his YouTube commercial, Me Inside My Garage with My Cars, and Gary Vaynerchuk. And we decided to create an app to help content creators who are trying to get content out with a small budget in a very easy and on-the-go way. So if you can see here on these videos, essentially what Veemly does is it creates influencer content that is really digestible for all platforms. So at the top, you'll see the top third or the lower thirds, and it also creates subtitles using our AI algorithm in order to easily take voice recognition from like voice to text and subtitles at the bottom. Our whole entire company's philosophy is to create tools for content creators so that you don't need a $20,000 or a $200,000 media or production budget in order to create content that is good and looks professional and you can make money off. Our value proposition right now is just, easy video creation for content creators on the go. We started off as an iOS app, and then we're moving to Android and desktop, but our essence, I guess you could say, is that we are a mobile app and that you can create videos on the go. This is what our app looks like. The UI is pretty intuitive. Most people, they just go on the application and they can create video content very easily. It's quite intuitive. And this is the iOS version here. This is just a slide that says we get really good reviews. The people that use us rate us highly, and without paying anybody or any kind of real organic marketing, gotten pretty far. We've gone as far so far. The great thing about Veemly that makes us kind of like unique is that we have a serverless architecture, and what that means is that we can scale really quickly in different countries. When we push like an update or a new patch, we can easily put that to everybody's phone, super easy through the cloud. And for any of the tech people out there, this is the infrastructure of the tech stack. So right now we're really big on iOS. We have 1,400 paid monthly users. And we just released our Android version a month ago, I would say, a little over a month ago. And we have a few hundred paid users on that. And what's new to come is our website, like our web application. Our business model, we have a starter pack. Well, there's a free trial for anybody that wants to use the application for free. On our starter pack, it's $9.99 a month. Between the two. Sorry, Mike, did you have a question?
There was a mic issue.
Oh.
I can't.
You, Anthony.
You're cutting out.
Let's see if this gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I get back?
Yeah. Yeah.
The real difference between the starter and the gold pack is that you get more video content that you can create and more minutes that you can translate from speech to subtype. This is kind of like the micro and macro look, the reductionist approach to the kind of like growth approach and macro approach to how we can scale and what the profitability could be on every single one of our packages. So the margin we make on the small package is $5.69, and on the gold package we make $14.50 margin, and then we calculated a lifetime value of those of like a new user, let's say, because typically we have a 50% chance that somebody stays over 6 months with us on the application. And then for those that like to use a larger number to take a look at the potential, right now we're at 1,400 paid users. And if we get to 10,000, that would be 550,000 per year, which we believe can be done in the next 10 to 15 months. These are our financial projections and our financial history. We're having our best quarter so far. This quarter, surprisingly, even with COVID-19 and the quarantine, I feel as if that kind of sparked more people to be creating content. But then we've had our best quarter so far, really looking to grow over the next 10 to 15 months, as I said. This is our growth. We just put a couple charts in here. I'm sure you guys will be able to take a look at our deck afterwards. But our monthly active users is going up steady month over month without any paid advertising or anything like that, really. My business partner and I, we have been pretty much bootstrapping the entire way through. With our own money, not taking on any outside investors. We're not sure if that's something that we want to do eventually, but thus far, this is how far we've come. New purchases and revenue is really starting to hockey stick as the last couple months have come around. Active subscribers as well, still going up. This is since January of 2019. Monthly revenue has really started to pick up as well over the last 3 months. So we believe that if we were to be able to get a seed funding of some sorts, you know, the grand prize is $25,000, it would really be a massive difference for our company because we'd be able to put more ad budget into the company because we've been going pretty modestly thus far, just reinvesting any profits that we have back into any kind of marketing initiatives at this current state. Our go-to-market plan, this is what we've done so far this year. Launch Right app. We've launched web application. We've launched affiliate marketing, digital marketing campaigns. And now in the next quarter, we're really looking to start doing some influencer marketing. We want to take the application multi-language and not just to Western countries and English-speaking countries. Sometime in Q4, we're debating on it, but we may want to raise money in order to scale up branding and internal marketing. And then the big play eventually is to do a B2B sales campaign. These are competitors right now. When it comes to the mobile space, there's not a lot of competition and everyone's pretty much kind of going for a land grab right now, which includes us. And then for desktop, there's Adobe Rush, which is a really big, obviously Adobe's a massive company. That would probably be our biggest competition. A little bit about the management team. It's myself. I have a history of working in AI and finance and digital marketing startups. Hassan has an extensive technology background, and our CM has worked at multiple marketing agencies. His biggest stint being at Mosaic Sales Solutions, working on big brands such as Loblaws, Sobeys, Canadian Tire. And then one of the founders, Maverick, he currently works at Adobe right now. He's a big content creator in the space.
All right, he works at Apple.
Apple, thank you, my bad. These are just kind of to summarize everything that we said right now, where we are. In the last 3 months, Hassan and I have been doing a digital marketing campaign in order to test what it would be like in order to actually put money into it and scale. We've got a pretty good conversion rate and a cost to acquire a new paid subscriber, and our subscribers keep growing 1,400 and above.
Well, that's great, guys. Congratulations on your traction. Excellent presentation.
Thank
So
you.
we have now 10 minutes for Q&A. Who's got the first question?
Yeah, I'll go first, Jeff.
Okay, Mahendra.
Yeah, so just profile of your current subscriber or customer base, the 1,400.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they?
Great question. The majority of them are they're content creators. So they're mainly between the ages of 25 and 40.
Okay, so they're self-content creators, or they create content on behalf of clients?
Based on my interactions with some of the customers, some of them are either real estate agents that have created videos for their audiences so they can advertise their real estate properties. I've also spoken to some of the content creators that are in fitness industry where they're promoting their fitness courses. I've also spoken to some of the people that actually have like massage parlors that want to talk about like their services they're providing. And then there's also people that are posting motivational content and using our app. So a wide variety of people that are using Instagram as a platform or LinkedIn as a platform to promote their services.
With those, hey, it's Mike from Mars IF. Those types of content creators, how often would you expect them to post per month?
So what I've noticed typically is one of the people that have consistently used our app, they usually post once or twice a day. So his name is Adrian. I think he recently joined our affiliate program as well. So he consistently posts. Other people, I think I've seen once a week, like real estate, for instance, or like the service, I think massage parlor that was in Australia, I think she posted once a week as well. So I do see some like creation being done on a daily basis and some on a weekly basis.
Yeah, according to our our analytics show that people are using the app anywhere between like 7 to 12 minutes a day.
When you go back to your user slide, there seemed to be a drop off between the last 28 days active users and the people who are logging in on a consistent period. Yeah, so the 7-day active users is about 3 times lower than your 28-day. What's that gap and delta there? Because I would have expected everybody to be closer to that 7-day if they were if they were content creators, like you were mentioning there.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So you're saying that there's a drop off in the 7-day compared to the 28-day?
That's right. So I would have expected that if I'm a content creator and I'm creating content on a weekly or daily basis, I'd be obviously logging in at that rate as well. But there's a pretty big drop off between people who log in once a month versus every week versus every day.
So usually the content creators often do sometimes work in bulk. So they would often create projects and like schedule. Sometimes they do that as well to just speed up the process. So I would probably attribute to that. That would require, again, more talking to our customers, existing base, and learning more about how their behaviors are. So possibly we would still need to investigate in that aspect.
Yeah, it could also just be when we took it. People only get a certain amount of minutes per month. But yeah, definitely bulk content creation is a thing.
Okay, thanks.
Next question.
Yeah, it's Mahendra again. Is there an opportunity to master license your content creation tool? I mean, I'm thinking like ad agencies and others,
We
including larger companies. Okay.
That's a great perspective, and we've been thinking about that internally, because for the amount of effort that it takes to get one new mobile app person, we could get an entire agency that has 20, 30 clients. And that's the B2B strategy that I was mentioning that we really want to start rolling out once our web application is more like commercially usable. So because most of these agencies, they work on desktop. So that's a strategy that we're going to roll out once our web application is fully functional.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, when you first describe your profile of your current customers, real estate agents and self-employed professionals, right? Selling their services. Okay. Just a thought, you know, as was listening to you, you know, I mean, there's a whole opportunity for, you know, self-promotion, right? People looking for work, right?
Sorry, are you suggesting like a sector group that we should be targeting?
Well, no, I'm just saying, you know, that's a possible use. I mean, may not be a recurring revenue stream nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like I said, today, everybody's a content creator. Everybody's got some version of, they got something on YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, right?
Right.
Everybody thinks they're a broadcaster. Everybody thinks they're a writer, okay?
Yeah.
You just got a more sophisticated tool to make it look professional, and that, you know, you cross the boundary and transacting, right? The idea of is gets people to buy, listen, and buy and transact, right?
Right.
So that's.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, yeah, that's 100% true, and that's a strategy that we want to use going forward.
Beyond languages and platforms, and perhaps integrating with more social media platforms, what's in the development roadmap?
So I can talk about that. Since we are providing a tool for content creators to create different types of videos, one of the trends that we have noticed is like interviews, where people are interviewing online. So having like subtitles generated for an interview where we separate them by speakers and then allow the content creator to easily design subtitles per speaker and then share it on the social media platforms. It will be a lot more digestible content for viewers. That's one of them. Sometimes we like some of the users that have spoken to us have asked for thumbnails, customizing the thumbnails to make it catchy in the beginning. So Gary Vee does that very good on his platform, on his Instagram feed. Another thing that people have talked about is adding more video editing features, like filters, like cropping, like speeding up the video, or like voiceover. So we have like requests from customers. We have that in the pipeline, and we want to integrate that as soon as possible.
We have time for a couple more questions.
Sure, I've got a question. It's regarding to get better understanding of your growth from your growth perspective. You talk about your acquisition cost to be about like $1.50. Is it if you guys want to pump that up massively, would it be fair to say that if you spend $10,000 a month, you will easily get that much X number of customers? It's very easy to get from a linear perspective.
That's a great question, and that's something that we talk about a lot internally. Right now, we're kind of diving into one form of digital advertising, which is the iOS store applications, because we want it because it's working for us. And when if you guys have experience with digital marketing, yes, if that could work, Cash, but at the same time, we don't know until we try. And it's really going to be mix and matching different platforms. Do we go with Facebook ads? Do we do Google ads? Do we do influencer marketing? Do we do paid content creation? And luckily for us, Mark and I are very experienced in digital marketing. And it's about testing and trying to find that right mix in order to scale. So we don't know yet, but it would be fair to say that the more money that put in, the better results that we would get.
Got it. Okay. There's definitely a need for a technology like this. Actually, my dad was asking me that, hey, can you find me a software something like this for a small charity which he supports? I wanted to create a bunch of videos for that, and I was kind of like struggling and asking like people who are around, like, hey, do you know something like this, But I probably something really big. So something very small, niche like this, and charging $10, $15 a month, that's something like very easy. And even
exactly.
You guys are like factored about that, like the average lifetime, if you can get like 6 months out of them, that's enough even.
Yeah,
That's really
exactly.
blog out there, and there's like a massive number of those guys out there, which is like people like me who just want to get something simple versus going into the Adobe world, which is like too monolithic, too big. We want like a way to start.
That's the dichotomy right now is, do you want to just put out something that's low budget, or do you want to spend money for an actual person to edit your videos, or you have to learn yourself? But this is a good alternative for people to get out stuff that looks good, like good enough.
Got it. Okay, good.
So that's the time, guys. Outstanding presentation. Congratulations on your traction to date. Just one suggestion. Once you do figure out that algorithm that, you know, for how much money you spend on social media, this is what the traction is going to be. There's companies like Clearbank that will finance that on a non-dilutive basis every day, all day. So, I mean, that's something you should be working towards as you figure that algorithm out.
You know, Jeff, that's a great point. We actually just we just did a deal with Clearbank like 2 weeks ago for a small investment in order to get our digital marketing up to a bigger level. They're great for that.
Yeah, and makes a lot of sense for you guys. Well, listen, that's the end of our time. So please unshare your screen and leave the Zoom meeting. And where the judges have the next 5 minutes to score you, and then we'll see our last contestant.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Well done, guys. It was great. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes, everybody.
Awesome.
Hi, Jay. Welcome.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jeff. Late night for everybody, eh?
Yeah. So here's what's going on. The judges are just scoring the last contestant. We're already live. There's a few people watching.
Sure.
So when the judges are finished, I'll invite you to share your screen. And once you're settled and ready, you can just start presenting. We'll time you from then. And you have 10 minutes. And then you have 10 minutes of Q&A. And then that's it. You'll unshare your screen, and then the judges have to do the tough, heavy lifting.
Absolutely. I follow.
Yeah, so just hang tight. We're 2 minutes away, so I'll be with you in a second.
Sure, I'll wait for a cue.
So Jay, you can share your screen.
Okay, try it out. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yep. Yep.
Fantastic. Only I don't see it. Okay, yeah, good to go.
You can see it? Okay, good. So whenever you're ready, take a deep breath. Good luck and hit it.
Really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. I know it's an interesting time. My name is Jay, and I'm the founder and CEO of Able Innovation. So when I was young, I began volunteering at long-term care facilities where my mom used to work. And there, I witnessed her perform the back-breaking task of transfers and injure herself. Transfer refers to the daily routine task of lifting and moving immobile individuals between surfaces, be it beds, wheelchairs, or stretchers. And you'd be surprised to learn that this highly labor-intensive task takes place hundreds of times every single day in a typical hospital, with each requiring between 2 to 8 caregivers exerting back-breaking effort. This is why over $18 billion is spent every year on direct costs associated with the labor and injuries caused by transfers. At Able Innovation, we're solving this by developing the Delta platform, which performs these same transfers with a single caregiver and absolutely no physical effort involved. This is made possible by proprietary technology that can be described as a compact conveyor belt type platform that is able to safely compress the surface when it's on, roll underneath you, lift you up, and transfer you automatically between surfaces. This is a demonstration of our half-scale prototype. We've done preclinical validation with a hospital in Ottawa called Briere Hospital and a joint study with Carleton University that proved that this method of transfer is safer than others. Because of what's going on with COVID, we're also working on a self-cleaning mode where the device cleans itself, making it completely hands-free so that frontline staff don't have to make physical contact with patients being transferred. So what does this mean for hospitals? It means significantly reduced liability due to injuries to both patients and frontline staff, significant reduction in the amount of labor required for these highly labor-intensive tasks. What this means is significantly improved workflows and potentially increased revenues. This is especially important today as healthcare facilities are reeling and they're looking for any way where they can boost efficiency and save costs. By the numbers, right now we're focusing on the medical imaging space as our beachhead. This is where we think we can provide the most value. And some clear metrics we're going for is right now, industry average is 2.2 scans per hour. We believe our device can bump that up to 3 scans per hour. What that means is 20% boost in revenue, which is significant. Further, as I mentioned before, 75% potential labor reduction. In terms of dollars, it means $11 per transfer versus 3. In order to monetize on this, we've established a sustainable and profitable business model. At low monthly lease costs, facilities will be able to save up to 10 times the savings our device provides. To get a bit more into detail, we're developing 2 types of models. Right now, we're working at leading with our introductory pricing, which is a $40,000 per unit price. But as we build evidence of the efficacy of our device, we believe we can justify $90,000 per device cost. We're also looking at recurring revenue models where we can lease our device service and add consumables on the cleaning side. Both of these models would result in 10x savings for the facilities over 4 years, as well as 70% gross margin for Able Innovation. So why now? Well, due to what's been going on with COVID, there's an immense need for products that have our characteristics that can save frontline staff from not only injuries, but infections as well. Further, it also frees up frontline staff. Also, we've shown that our device is safe. So Briere Hospital, for example, has come forth and said, we know you guys are still working on it, but as soon as it's ready, we want to try them out, try your devices out. And this comes at a time where hospitals have stopped procuring any innovation, new innovation type budgets. There is an immense need for products such as ours. In terms of business viability and traction, so we've gotten here very quickly. For all intents and purposes, real operations started early 2018. We've received $450,000 in funding from NRC IRAP. We have an LOI from Briere Hospital that I just spoke about. We've already charted a path to what it will take for us to gain regulatory approval from both FDA and Health Canada. Further, we have a list of key partners that have helped us along the way, which include workers' associations, key hospitals, long-term care facilities. So as I mentioned, so far we've achieved preclinical safety validation. By the end of this year, we want to have our full-scale units developed that can transfer 95% of all individuals, leading the path to commercialization by this time next year. Over the long term, we're charting a path to conduct all types of transfers in all types of settings, including bed to wheelchair, and we really see our technology changing how individuals age and spend their golden years helping keeping families together. So from a bottom-up analysis, we've looked at the lateral transfer hospital market, which is a $4 billion a year opportunity. But as we get into the bed to wheelchair type functionality, we'll look into long-term care and home care, where this is just going to multiply. Further, the demand for products such as ours that allow you to do more with less is growing due to COVID-19, the aging population, and nursing shortages. So we're up to the task, and this wouldn't have been possible without a stellar team. So myself and our CTO have over 10 years of product development experience. We've founded other companies in the past, Invest Product Development, which generated over $900,000 in just passive revenue. Last year, we have a rich background in IP. We've actually defended patents. We've helped develop and launch numerous commercial grade products. This comes by the backs of me and Phil spent 5 years in Asia doing supply chain and operations for many companies previously. We are a full-time team of 10 individuals, but we've also surrounded ourselves with key advisors that consist of individuals who've raised tens of millions of dollars, which is a type of capital we'll need to raise if our venture is to succeed. We also have key medical advisors who sat on the medical advisory board of various high-profile companies. When looking at the competitive landscape, there's no product like ours. The status quo, which is 99.5% of all products come in the first two categories, which is patient lift and transfer sheets. Patient lift can be described as devices that lift and hoist individuals and drop them, and transfer sheets are just flat surfaces that require a lot of labor to conduct these transfers. But we've started seeing a new class of electromechanical devices, which have a great amount of affinity to how our device looks. These have been tried and failed over the last few decades, and we've talked to individuals who've used them firsthand. The key problem is these require technicians to operate. They're highly complicated, very big, bulky, and hard to maneuver. We're really focusing on those aspects of it. We're focusing on the UI. We're focusing on how compact it can be. And this is only made possible by means of technology and materials that have become commercial over the last 5 to 10 years or so. We like to compare our device to, say, before there were MP3 players and then there was the iPod. The iPod really took off because of how easy it made it for users to operate it. So we're creating immense value right now. So far, we've capitalized $800,000 into venture by the backs of founders and non-dilutive funding. We are looking to raise our first seed round right now. We're at a very exciting time because there's key value development milestones when it comes to IP, FDA, and Health Canada approval, and then commercialization is another significant one. So I'm here today asking for $150,000 in investment. We have 4 milestones that we're looking to fill up over the next year or so. First is developing our first full-scale beta prototype and IP and regulatory filing, which is what this $150,000 will go towards. Then we're going to be looking at manufacturing setup and commercialization type activities towards the later half of this year, provided the beta prototype is successful. So why should we invest in us? Well, we're an experienced team with a proven track record. There is no better timing, and there's no time where products such as ours are needed more because of what's going on with COVID. And overall, I invite you today to help improve the quality of life of millions around the world. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was a terrific presentation.
Thank you.
We now have 10 minutes for Q&A. Who's got the first question? You wowed the judges.
Fantastic.
It's Mike from Mars IAF. Great presentation. I like the demo. The $40,000. How much is the cost to you?
Yep. So there's a lot of economies of scale that we'll be leveraging later on. What I can comment on is our projected cost at scale. Our target of cost of goods sold is $10,000 per unit, and that's at scale of over 700 units. Early on, we may be kind of breaking even, looking at how much effort will be going into the sale. But as we scale up, we believe that's a target we can very much hit.
And what is your acquisition method for, I guess, customers? And I'll use that broadly. And then what's the number of units per customer that you're envisioning? And sort of walk me to the math to get to 700 units, I guess, per year, which will be to your $10,000.
Absolutely. So what I can speak to is the market size first, and that can inform how we'll acquire customers. So as an example, right now, our beachhead is going to be medical imaging. There is 11,000 CT scans across the US, and a lot of these sales are based in hospital system. A single hospital system could have about 100 CT scan machines, some of the bigger ones. So it's about generating evidence that is agreed upon by a hospital system. So you might target one facility, try it out there, and then that can be dispersed as systems procure together. That's kind of one model of doing so. Other models are licensing. So when you look at how medical imaging rooms are built, these are contracted out in the 50 to 100 of rooms to the GE, Siemens, Philips, for example. And our technology poses huge potential to be kind of like a line item as an add-on, where with a multi-million-dollar sale, here is another add-on that could potentially boost the throughput and revenue of your facility by 20, 30%. That would obviously be the more preferred method, but in speaking to companies that have been successful, you first need to develop that initial evidence with a few key players and excellent evidence. That's kind of going to be our key criteria of what we're going to be focusing on, is like 3 to 5 champion sites in the near term to provide and publish really good evidence, and kind of how we intend to get to the 750 plus. So a big part of next year is going to be strategically placing our devices, even if it's for free, just developing that data. But from there, it's growing and selling within those systems. So an average of each system may procure, 15 to 20 units. So it's going to be kind of an uphill battle, and we need to synchronize our sales cycle with the procurement cycle of these facilities. It's also worth mentioning we're going to primarily look into the US first, and Canada will also be there. But American facilities are much more attuned with bottom line decision making, which is where our technology really comes in.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jay, you mentioned the US. What are the regulatory approval hurdles that you need to go through in the US?
Absolutely. So we will need to register with the FDA, and we would be classified as a class 2 device, but we would be 510K exempt. What that means is we don't need to do randomized control trials or clinical trials. What we need to do is on our end have a significant amount of self-governance, which mainly has to do with the quality assurance side and internal testing. And that's because we fall into a category that's already been established, which is called electronic transfer devices. And we've consulted with external consultants who specialize in regulatory affairs, and we're engaging with them to go past this. So what the hurdles really look like is we need to have our bill of materials finalized, which means we to a point where we don't change a nut or a bolt or supplier. At the same time, we need to have our suppliers and quality documentation all finalized. Once all of that is there, within 1 to 2 months, we can get ourselves approved within the FDA. And even before that, if we need to experiment, we can get something that's called an investigational device exemption, an IDE, that can be filed with an interested party and us to evaluate our device before we even go with the 1 or 2 month filing kind of deadline. And the capital associated with that is fairly moderate. It's in the $30,000 to $80,000 to the best of our estimates.
So what's your easiest or the shortest go-to-market cycle in the US?
So what's interesting is right now we have an LOI from a Canadian complex continuing care facility because of just our outreach and our relationship. They've come out and said we can literally save them millions in their LOI. In the US, what we're going to be doing is right now we're focusing on Buffalo-based facilities, simply because we understand and appreciate the need to service early sales. We will be doing a disproportionate amount of service, and we want to be present. So we are focusing kind of growing geographically, and as we understand how our product is performing, then we can be more liberal. The key areas in the US where we really want to go is Florida and California for a variety of reasons. They have a very high rate of geriatric individuals, and CT scans, which is kind of where our business model is slam dunk, they are disproportionately used for geriatric population. So those would be 2 states we'd look at. Boston is obviously a innovation hub, but as we look to grow out, it's going to be Texas and California there.
I got a question regarding the competitive advantage. You showed a couple of the competitors out there that we're using some sort of like primitive ways.
Yeah.
How easy is it for the traditional, let's say, hospital bed manufacturers to replicate?
Sure.
Build like something like this? Is this something what they're doing right now? And it's going to be, if they see this to be that, hey, there's a huge market, it'll be very easy for them to get into the hospital based on their existing relationships and so.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll say is first I'll speak to the track record of innovation from these big manufacturers. And we've studied dozens of cases. What happens is innovation is too high risk for these behemoths. They have a very frequent track record of just acquiring companies. They have a very bad track record of developing products internally. For them, it's easy to write $150 to $250 million check once they see that traction, and then they can really scale them up. That's been the procurement model. That's not to say that there are risks associated with developing hardware that's simple to understand and simple to execute. As a result, we've developed a very nuanced IP-based strategy. So maybe worth mentioning the funds that we've soft circled. The key part and the first question that's been due diligence is exactly the question you raised. So we underwent due diligence from Milbank, LLP in California, and they agreed with our approach. It's very nuanced around not just the physical hardware, it's around how you automate this process. The key barrier has been companies have tried, but how do you make it easy to work with? When a nurse is in an urgent situation, and the first thing that needs to come to mind is, I want to use the Delta platform instead of, I need to go and find my friend because she's going to come right away and I can tell her what to do. And it's that kind of nuance, and the technology wasn't really there maybe 15 years ago, but now you're looking at, say, autonomous driving cars, they're intuitional. We're looking at building in some of those same mechanisms into this.
Got it.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question.
Can you touch on the IP for the technology?
Absolutely. So we're working with Bearskin and Parr, LLP, and what we've done so far is filed a very strong provisional, which is basically at the stage of filing. What that protects is initially when we started developing this product, we also saw use of it going all the way down to the ground and lift fallen individuals. So we have that's somewhere that nobody else has explored. Since then, we've kind of added more features, but that's something that we basically have in the bag. This also protects our ability to be compact, which is something that is really required to be able to conduct these transfers safely. Where we're going in the future is user interaction. So things such as, like Snapchat has you keep your finger pressed and somebody takes a photo, like things like that. What we've noticed is there are a lot of mechanical IP patents in this space, but none around how the device is controlled. Further, it's worth noting that there's a lot of development around the transportation side, like personnel transportation, but not around transfer. So we're also focusing on that. So right now we're working on 3 additional provisionals there. And as I mentioned, myself and Phil, Phil has over 15 patents. He's gone to court defending his patents in the solar industry there as well. Yeah. Oh, and it may be worth mentioning, we just got Velocity Futures just invested $50,000 in us today. They just announced that shortly before this pitch, actually.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was good news.
Well done. Well, I think that's the time. So congratulations. Great presentation. Please unshare your screen and let yourself out of the room. But we really enjoyed the presentation, and we'll let you know tomorrow what the decision is.
Thank you. And I hope you all have a great night and get some rest. And thanks so much for doing this at this time. I know everybody has families to tend to. So take care. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks. Okay, so Melanie, you can let the audience out.